Annalise relieved some pain, and Sam betrayed both people this season. Stay tuned. This is How to Get Away with Murder.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I'm so happy to have this song back.
We're back. Listen, the DMs can cease because finally,
We're back, guys.
back on How to Get Away with Murder.
Yes.
And guess what?
What's up? Tell me.
We have a special guest in studio tonight.
Yes,
You guys are
we
gonna be so
do.
excited.
Who is it?
Who is it?
And he talks. He's like, who is it? Rome Flynn, everyone.
There it is. What's up, y'all?
Gabriel, Rome Flynn is in the building. My goodness.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, we in here.
Everyone guessed it. I'm so glad to be back with you guys. Elayna here.
Hey guys, it's Jaimi Gray.
What's up, CJ Walker? Back with you guys.
It's been a long road. I mean, these past
Yeah.
few months feel like so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And I kind of want to dive right in. I mean, we get straight into Sam's past,
Yep.
and we have Annalise reliving some of her pain, and then we have a wedding night for Oliver and Connor. A tragic wedding night, actually.
Yeah.
Not too fun about that.
No, not at all. Just going from the cliffhanger of last, I guess, 2018, it was just crazy because you see where Nate's going off the deep end, Bonnie's covering it up, poor Miller, and then you see Gabriel, who comes into Annalise's home, and it's just wild. It's like he's a character that you don't want to dislike. You want to like him, but you want to learn more about him, and I think I'm kind of torn in between the two about Gabriel. What about you guys?
I think I felt relief. I felt relief for this episode because I didn't know how to feel about Gabriel.
Yeah.
It was just very mysterious.
Yeah.
We don't know his motives. We don't know why he's here. And though he gave us like this cliffhanger, so his motives can still go very sour. From what we received tonight, I'm like, okay, you aren't this villain.
I don't think he's a villain, and especially seeing his younger self and him meeting Sam or his dad, I think it's understandable. He just wants to know what's going on. Where's my dad? What happened? And he's going right to the people. He's in the right place. So.
Let's work backwards with Sam's past. So, Rome, you came in to a show that already had a tight-knit cast, that already had some history and had these storylines. How was it entering that atmosphere?
It was fine in a sense of like I'm comfortable in like working and stuff like that, but like it was a challenge, getting to know everyone, because they're set in their ways and kind of, they've been doing this for 5 years, so they have a camaraderie that I'm not a part of, and sort of like and having Viola sort of be the nucleus of all of that. And trying to get in the middle of that to see where I fit in, because I feel like it's important to have relationships off screen, also on screen. It's very hard for me to do scenes with people that aren't receptive to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it, but I just find it's easier. Like you can find what you're looking for easier in scenes when you actually, like know the person or like them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it wasn't difficult, but it was a challenge. There was pressure because of the lineage with the show, and like diehard fans of How to Get Away with Murder, and Wes and me being black and coming in and kind of people automatically assuming that I'm there to fill some sort of void that he left. So I think there was a sort of expectation of maybe me trying to live up to who his character was and somehow being involved with that. And as far as we know, as far as you guys have seen, that's not the case as of now. So I there was different levels of pressure, but I mean, I just try to do my best.
Yeah, I mean, you held it down. And I was wondering that too. Like, okay, Wes is no longer here, and a lot of people are comparing Gabriel with Wes.
Weren't you one of those people?
I was.
She was like,
I was. But you know what? You grew on me. Gabriel grew on me. And again, I think I'm starting to take a liking to Gabriel, and separating him from Rome Flynn. I think
Honestly,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've never liked Gabriel's character at all.
And you can tell. I can tell.
Wow. Okay then. Okay.
I've just been like super quiet since he's been
Keep
here
it real.
because I can't.
Wow. Okay.
No, I've never liked his character. He just seems like he seems evil and has an underlying he has a hidden agenda. Obviously,
That didn't change until tonight, though. So
I mean, he still has it. agenda?
He has an agenda, but
Like,
that
who
we
is he
didn't.
on the phone with?
We didn't
Like,
get that
what?
until the last minute, so we don't know what that can be. And the only reason I say that is because, like, usually, and people who have followed this show from season to season, they will call me the hater because usually I'm hating on everybody. Like, I'm just like, I'm not a fan, but. Because of the surprise of Gabriel going to when we were done with them last season, we thought that he was going to be at Annalise's home and try to do something crazy, try to harm her. He didn't do that. That was a twist.
I don't, but still, like, why would he just break into her house just to see how his dad died? Like, what sane person does that?
But here's the thing. So I think we're all a little bit skeptical about Gabriel, especially in that last season episode when you came into Annalise's house. But I feel like if Gabriel was really bad, you would have already done something to her. Even if she said she had a gun, you would have knocked her out. You could have knocked her out in the church. You know,
But a psychopath,
He knocked her out.
He did. He stole her keys.
has a very like long-term
and
plan.
I think there's something there. But we don't really know what Gabriel's going to give us. He never really. We never really got to see Gabriel in his full element in last season. We don't really know enough about him.
You don't know. You just don't know him. That's the thing.
We just are skeptical because he just came out of nowhere, and we found
Maybe
that out
that's why I don't
even
like
with the previous season when Frank was at the college and he's like, you know, he's here. We don't know enough to judge him, but we are.
So here's where Annalise is right. Annalise said, "You're more like your father than you think," and I think that is true with Gabriel because he came in, he immediately used his charm, even up until recently on Michaela at the wedding, just trying to get in, and you know, like. It ain't cool. First of all, put on a shirt. Like, stop.
He tried it.
He just was just trying it. So I think he relates to Sam a lot in that way. And Rome, yes or no question.
What?
Do we have something to be skeptical about when it comes to Gabriel?
Can you answer?
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, listen. I think that the reason that you find this skepticism is because of your relationship with the cast. Now, let me challenge you on this. Now, disassociate that. Like, disassociate maybe your love for these people like Annalise and whoever your favorite character is on the show, Michaela, whoever that may be. What I see...
Asher.
Yeah, Asher, right. You know, what I see is a guy trying to find answers, right? So let's not kid ourselves. Like, Sam was killed, right? And he was murdered, right? You know, so it wasn't like they did something good. They're all at fault for things that they've done. I just think that you reap what you sow. You know what I'm saying? So I think that whether he's there to get them or not, that's still to be seen. But the idea that this is coming back around isn't like an anomaly. Like, this is something that you kind of should anticipate to happen. They did, you know, cut his body up and did a whole lot of crazy stuff with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think he's there to find answers. And I don't know exactly. Listen, every episode I find out more about what his motives are.
Yeah.
I think this first half of the season, because this is still season 5, this first half of the season was just setups. It was all setups. It was all people jumping the gun on who they think he is, right? So now everything sort of hits the fan because Annalise finds out, then K4 finds out. So then at that point, you can have a real assessment of who Gabriel is because of his motives, and now he has no reason to hide these things because now people know. So then we'll see where he lies on that. Is he against them or is he with them? You know, next episode, you know, they show the promo, you'll get to see.
So you as a person, do you think that you are similar to the character?
You know, I think I find similarities in every character I play.
Yeah.
I think that we all are searching for something.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Good
think
answer.
that I just think his quest on trying to figure out who his father is has a lot to do with understanding who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are who our parents are, you know. So I feel like him trying to figure out what that is his journey, you know, and the fact that he ended up with Annalise, going to Middleton. I like to tell people that may have been purposely, but he also still does have this hunger and passion to fight for people who don't have a voice. That you can't fake. You can't fake that funk. If he did that, he'd be a complete sociopath. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was faking like he really cared about these sort of situations
Like
that
even
were going
Michaela.
on. Right. I mean, even her, she hitting on Michaela. See, look, I understand, like, from a point of view of a fan watching the show, I think when I read the script and me doing it, I don't gather that he does not like her. I think that he has a plethora of reasons to like her. The fact that, you know, she's beautiful, she's very smart. She kind of aligns with his ideology of like this person who's a like black queen in his mind. of someone who's successful and sort of on their way in a way of Annalise, because he also admires her from a professional standpoint at this point, so yeah.
This is where it gets difficult because you build a relationship with the character on screen, and then you get the actor in a studio and they start talking stuff, and you're like, maybe I should Gabriel. Just all over the place. But we revisit Sam's past this episode, and I mean, I know that we've kind of been all over the place with how we feel about him from the beginning, from when he died, from when everything happened with the murder and the babies and etc. Do we feel like he is still a good man, or from what was revealed tonight, is it like, wow, you did all this stuff to Annalise?
No, I don't think Sam is a good man at all. Which is, I don't think. Do you think so?
No, he's a liar. If you're a good person, you don't need to find the need to lie. And I do think that he showed good qualities. He wanted to go back and see his son and see Vivian. We still don't know exactly everything that's going on, but I feel like from what we've seen, Sam's not the best person. He's an emotional abuser, physical abuser. He's a cheater. He's just all the things that label him as not good. So that's my answer. He's just not.
This episode also allowed me to see like Annalise. I think she is the victim of this show.
Is she?
I mean, but that's been an underlying theme season from season, because we've always felt like Annalise she saves. Yeah. She's been saving people from when they killed Sam from the very beginning. She saves people. She wants to mother them and take them under her wing, but she is not innocent. She's not without fault.
But she's had so much happen to her that how can she be innocent? You can't just like blame her for her wrongdoings.
She's not a victim. You're victimizing her. I think that Annalise has shown us her true colors on and off, like each season. And even Miller last season, where he's saying to Bonnie, I feel like Annalise is using you in some sense of that word. I think in some instances that's true. She does save, but she also manipulates when she has to. She's a lawyer. She's gonna use that in her everyday life as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's flawed. I think that she's such a polarizing figure in that world, because she's such a crusader, and the class action that she did, and there's so many great things that sort of overshadow the things that she's done that haven't been right, But I think just like every other character on the show, I mean, she's done her due diligence. You feel me? Like she definitely has gone through it, and looks like she's kind of spiraling back into alcoholism and other things of that nature. So.
Were you guys actually drinking during that scene?
Yeah, we were wasted.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Listen, SAG Union, I was just playing.
Wow.
They gonna send me a fine. They gonna fine me. No, I'm kidding.
You are a good actor. I believed you.
She was like, yes!
She was so good. Yes. What was it? No, we weren't. Absolutely not. Never on set. What's going on? No, it was just water or something like that. Yeah.
Or something like that.
It was water, yeah.
So a lot of fans were saying while the show was happening that tonight's episode, obviously Viola Davis is a phenomenal actress, but tonight's episode, she really nailed it. She really put on a performance, and you guys had that opening scene almost together, or that encounter of present day. What was that like, working through the situation, feeding off of her?
Yeah. I didn't see the flashbacks because I'm not there for those. I think that, I mean, she's a pro. She's been doing this longer than I've been alive. Let's let that set in a little bit. So it's like, it feels effortless when I see her work. When I'm there working with her, I just try to grab on whatever I can, as far as in the scenes that I have with her, and in those scenes in particular that we had that morning or the afternoon, whenever we shot those. It wasn't too far removed from when we did the last episode, which was the 8th episode. So it wasn't that hard to kind of get back into it with her. And we found it, we found the scene, you know what I mean? And that's the journey. And she's very good at that. Like I've always said, Viola, everything that comes out of her mouth is gold, and that's the thing with me I'm trying to get better at is, sometimes the show will write for me, and they're amazing writers. But sometimes it's so far removed from me that I feel the need to sort of change it or do something different with it. And, I heard something from Meryl Streep, actually. She mentioned saying that every show, every movie, whatever that she's done, there's been words that she wanted to change. Instead of changing them, she'll make that the staple of the scene. So I've been trying to be adamant about that and challenge myself in that way. because everything that she says just comes out like butter. You know what I mean? So she's great at that, and just watching her, she's made me a better actor. You know, and she's generous even when she's not on screen. Because a lot of times what people don't know is that we'll shoot the main like scene, right, and we'll get in close, and she won't be on screen. And sometimes some actors will phone it in. You feel me? They'll just be saying the line to you, but you know she'll bring it every time.
That's awesome.
So it makes the scene great.
Yeah, perspective too.
Yeah. Then we go back into Annalise's past on the show. We kind of relive her losing her son, her and Sam losing their son, and kind of see her performance of that. So one, miscarrying, losing a child, the trauma of all of that was what was powerful. As fans of the show, was there anything new? Because I was watching it and I'm trying to, it's so hard when the seasons are broken up in the way that they are and we're kind of moving through the show. And I'm like, dang, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I felt like I was missing something that happened in a previous episode, in a previous season that we didn't kind of get the answer to tonight.
Like something just to make it all connect.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Viola's performance, it's always heavy when she's always talking about the miscarriage. Even when we first learned that the baby's name was Sam, you know, it's just everything is always heavy in her performance. But I think that maybe some new things. I didn't really notice a lot of Bonnie during this time. I always thought about Frank. I hated the fact that Annalise was blaming herself. Now, this is before she knew that Frank was involved, right? So it's just all those things. I think those are just the little nuances that we realized this episode that weren't as clear in the previous episodes.
Also, this is just a side note, but Frank's hair is ridiculous.
No, it is kind of trash.
I've seen some styles like that.
It is kind of trash.
The little swoop thing.
The haircuts work for him.
They did great though, you know, because they have to go back and film those scenes.
Yeah.
Those aren't scenes that they pull from previous episodes. You know, I think people don't generally know that. So if you put it in that perspective, like if I'm looking at it that way, like I'm looking at Bonnie's performance before all of this stuff happened to her, I'm looking at Frank and kind of he has a sort of innocence to him that he does not have in this season. Yeah. I'm looking at Annalise and I'm looking at her before all of this, everything that transpired with Sam's death, and she seems more connected, like more grounded. You know, now at this point, if I see her, like she's stoned. You feel me? Like, you know, she got the letter at the end and she read it and just folded it up and looked at her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But if that was now.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They compare and contrast on how she was then to now. It just shows you like the character development that they all put in, you know, to sort of come back full circle.
That's what I love about the show, though. I love the flashbacks. Like, at first, it used to confuse me. I usually like to watch an episode once or twice, but I like that they always go back. Some things that some of the fans in the live chat were saying was they were going in on these wigs from the flashback scenes.
Like
they were
Frank.
just like they were talking about Frank. They were talking about Bonnie. But also with the flashbacks, your younger self, the younger Gabriel, is actually
looks like
played.
him.
Yeah, he favors you, but he is actually Sam, or is it Tom Verica? Is it that his real name? It's his son.
Yes, his real
so that's
son.
really awesome. You know.
Yeah.
Did you ever, like, I know you don't have a scene with him, at least in this episode, but did you ever get to work with him, meet with him at all?
Well, I met him. I can tell you that he didn't have any interest in acting, really.
Yeah.
Like, this was just something
like,
that they
"I'm just
did.
here."
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it was Pete's idea to bring his son in. Because Tom had showed me his son previously, and I was like, "Damn, man, like we look similar." He was like, "Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I think it might bring him as you." I was like, "What? It's nuts." But his son doesn't. To my knowledge, it doesn't act. You know, so I was just impressed, like how, you know, he just kind of stepped into it and did it in that way. But it just kind of aligned, and he had to do a scene with his son, and they'll always have that. So that's awesome, man.
I thought it was
He did
beautiful.
It was great.
Incredible job.
Yeah.
We would love to see, when you go home, we would love to see a picture of you.
Yeah.
When you were a child, and then a picture of young Gabe, because the resemblance is very wild. It's just,
Canon,
I think it's the brows that sets it off perfectly.
I think maybe it was the hair. I don't
Well,
know.
I had long hair when I was young, so I'll show you a
Maybe-
picture. I'll find
yeah.
one some point and I'll send it to
that
you somehow.
side by side would be a little insane, because even the picture that you guys, I believe you guys took a picture on set, was it? I'm just like,
Yeah.
Right.
scary.
Yeah. It was. It's just crazy how it came full circle in that way. Yeah.
So we're reliving the past, and all of this is happening with Sam. All of this is happening with Annalise. We meet Vivian, but then in present day, we have this wedding night that went completely sour.
Yes, we did.
Gabriel went off the map. They think he's dead, obviously, because they're murderers.
Right.
I love the K4, K5. We were having that debate earlier.
K5. It's always
I like
will
it
be
as
the
K5,
K5.
but I get it.
It's K5 now because of Gabriel.
Well,
No,
no,
he
yeah.
hates that. I know he Asher fan.
He's like,
He Asher fan. I'm just messing with you.
Well, no, it's Oliver.
Debate in the chat room if you feel more comfortable with K4 or K5.
yeah, let us know.
And
K4
we'll
and
see what
K5.
happens with that. So in the present day, it's like mayhem. Oliver and Connor are supposed to be having a magical wedding night.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Connor sees his mom.
Asher.
Doing her thing.
Doing
his
her
thing.
thing.
You're proud of that. Why are you so proud of that?
He like, yeah.
I'm not
I don't know
proud
what it
of
is with you and Asher.
I'm not
I don't
proud
know what
of it. I'm just saying Asher is my dude. He seems like a
He's the
dope
less
guy.
problematic one on the show, I could say.
He
I don't know
seems
about
like,
that either. He runs
seems like
people
an
over.
awesome guy. His
Right.
character seems like an awesome guy to like just party with, hang out with. He's a
un-
bro.
That's why you
he's
like him.
unassuming.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you know, he doesn't. He's the comic relief. He's funny too in real life. That I love Matt.
He seems like
Such a great dude.
Yeah.
If y'all ever get to meet him, man.
Even
Like-
just from his social media, he seems like
Yeah.
he's just always like standing up for people, standing up for
He's
Yeah.
definitely
civil
a
rights.
people
I'm like,
person.
oh, he's woke. I like
he's
it.
Definitely
Oh,
a
he's
people.
very woke.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the most socially active people that I know. I mean, across the board, not just like, you know, he'll talk to you about white supremacy. He'll talk about white
I love
privilege.
it.
You know, he's schooling me, and I'm cool. Like, tell me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't know everything, and you know, that's the first thing I talked to him about. As far as handling that, you know, stepping into that space and being who he is and saying, you know, calling these things out, and how he kind of like was able to adjust the backlash from that, and also being on this show. You know what I mean? So it's a lot going on, but he's a very smart guy. You know, he's a good guy. I love Matt.
I've always been an advocate for Asher on the show. I can't. He's an airhead, and I'm not like fan Asher, but I've been an advocate of Asher on the show because when it gets really heavy and a little crazy, he always brings the
He's
comical
a man.
relief.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he brings us the okay, I could breathe again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of him in that aspect. CJ.
I just really like him because he like reminds me. His character reminds me of myself a lot. So I just feel like we relate on that level. So yeah.
All right. So, whatever. Asher sucks. The character, not the person. But we're reliving this wedding night from hell, basically, and everyone has things that are going on. But there was this when Annalise and Gabriel was having a conversation. I remember her telling him it's better to have no father than a bad one, and she started to go through her not having a dad. Now we know the drama with her family, but I remember sitting there and I was like, but he was there. Like her dad was there. He was abusive.
Yeah.
And he did some crazy things. But for some reason, when she was saying it's better to have no dad than a bad one, that kind of really struck me.
Do you agree with that statement?
I agree with what Annalise is saying. That's real life. I think people really get it misconstrued with parents in the household. Nuclear family is, you know, what you want to go for, but I think it's hard to say. Like, you know, not everyone's parents are the exact same. Someone could have an amazing father in the house, but they grew up with their dad, and someone could have no father in the house, and maybe they are raised a lot better. It's all, you know, perspective and what happens in that home. Yeah. So I totally agree. Because it's just, if you have a bad father, do you want that bad father? Like, there are bad parents in the world.
I mean, but wouldn't you want both your parents and not just like not know who
you don't want just anybody.
is?
That's a word for somebody. That's a relationship.
Right. What you don't know won't hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of your imagination and maybe who this guy could be, and that's like what's driving Gabriel, honestly.
Right.
Is that he doesn't know, and this idea that it's better to have no father than a bad one. It's like, if you had known that he was bad or not, if he wasn't there, it's left to speculation and into opinion. So you kind of can build off that in your own imagination. As Gabriel can, obviously, he's been saying, like, you're just trying to make him out to be this bad guy. Like, you're just saying that because he hurt you. He's kind of deflecting those things because he doesn't know anything. And he fears that, you know, if that's the truth about him, what does that mean about Gabriel? What does that mean about him as a man, as growing up? And he's probably thinking like, damn, I'm in this woman's house. All the things that he's kind of done, it's like now he's second guessing himself. And for me, I just feel like her saying that to him is going to he's going to do two things. Either drive Gabriel in a direction that's just completely this villain guy who wants revenge, or it's going to go the opposite way. He's going to want to be completely different than who his dad was. So I guess we'll find out.
I think the grass is always greener, to answer your question. when you have a dad and he's a bad dad, you're like, I'd rather not have one. And when you don't have a dad, you're like, well, I'd rather have a dad than not have a bad one. And to your point, we see Gabriel have this moment in his bedroom after the conversation with Annalise, and he's playing around with the ball that he had with his one encounter with his dad, which also was just emotional, whether you like Gabriel or not. That moment was powerful. But then he starts to cry. So as an actor, what did you draw from to bring that tear? Like, what were you thinking? How did you bring that performance for that scene?
You know, well, let me address the first thing you said. I don't think that we know or not yet if he knew that was his dad. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we know at this point of him looking at the basketball. I think that basketball symbolized like what the viewers know. You know what I'm saying? The viewers know the basketball symbolizes that he met his dad with that basketball. But I don't know if it's common knowledge to him at that point if he's like, I remember when I met my dad. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's probably reflecting
inside
on...
Scoop?
Right?
Yeah, you know, I'm just saying, I think he's sort of reflecting on everything that kind of transpired and figuring out who this guy is. You know, maybe he's a bad guy, maybe he is. Like I said, what does this mean about me? You know, so I think he was just very inward on that, and the basketball was just a symbol of that. And, you know, they just did a flashback with it, so, you know, it was good. But yeah, as an actor... It depends, honestly. Like I've done scenes where it's like you get to get there with a person, right? You know, you find where it is and you're in an emotional state, whatever you're crying, whatever the scene calls for, right? It's easier. But I just find it's a little harder to do it alone. Especially in that day, I remember that day because I was doing other scenes, and sometimes we do double ups. We'll do episodes we'll do another episode. We'll be on 2 different episodes a day. And I think I was that day. And that part of the scene was like during the middle of the day, you know. So then it's like I'm doing this scene, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you're in this emotional state where you need to be whatever. And it's like, okay, you know. So there's not really anything for me to draw from. I don't really like try to approach it that way. It's not necessarily like the healthiest thing to do. To try to bring up things that make you hurt and cry like that. I think that I do that. Right? I just think over time
that's what you do.
No, I mean some actors do. I mean some actors don't. I mean if you study the Stanislavski method, like you don't do that. You know, you kind of work off repetition, and I think that over time, being on a soap for 2.5 years that I was, it's a little easier for me to tap into that space and not have to think about things that make me want to cry.
Have you ever had like those fake tears they put in?
Listen, I've had it before. Yeah. I think most people do. Honestly, you never be able to tell. Yeah. But the performance isn't in that. That's the thing. That's what people don't get. You know, I'm just saying, like, for viewers maybe, but like I feel like the tears are a representation of what sadness is to a lot of people, right? But you don't necessarily need that for the scene to be great. I just think in that scene we ended up doing it, and it was great. But I just feel like it's the visual representation that people want. Oh my God, he's crying. I want to see the tears. But if you're able to pull it off without that, like that, I feel like kind of sets you apart and kind of makes you a good actor if you can do that. Yeah.
Moving into our special segment, so you brought up this kind of inside scoop about the basketball, not the basketball, and they shamed me before the show started today because I was asking Rome if he's a basketball fan, and apparently he is.
Trying to play me.
But now, thinking about it, the ball had the Chicago Bulls on there.
Yeah.
Is that your actual team, being that that's like...
You know, I actually don't have a team, but I will say that, you know, Pete, the showrunner creator, he's very good with that. He's good from drawing things from you personally. And I'll tell you this, when I joined the show initially, like they didn't know I played basketball or anything like that, which is so amazing how that first episode transpired as far as the first episode of this season 5. It had nothing to do with incorporating basketball at all. And he just, you know, was on my Instagram and saw me posting highlights, whatever. And he was like, damn, you can actually play. I'm going to put this in. I was like, yeah, of course. You know, it's like a dream of mine to play a basketball player in anything, you know, so it ended up working out. And now it's sort of like the pivotal part of what people talk about with me is like, yo, that scene on the basketball court where Frank finally introduces himself to Gabriel is like pivotal to the season. So, yeah, I mean, that's not my team, but yeah, I still hoop. I'll get a list. I'll say I'm the best celebrity basketball player.
Oh.
Period. I'm
Wow.
calling everybody out.
And I hear you're going to do the All-Star. You want to do the All-Star celebrity?
I do. Yeah, I'm pushing for that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the NBA Celebrity All-Star Game, I want all the smoke. I want a 10-day contract. I want to go, so listen, I got some goals, all right? And I'm going to get it done sooner or later, maybe this year, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, that's actually really exciting to see that, to know that that's a part of your real life, like your actual life, and they brought that into the show. I didn't know that they do that.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many other things they've done for
other
things.
Characters. Carla's character wasn't initially, apparently wasn't, just didn't speak French, and that was something that she did. That he found out about. I was like, I'm gonna write that in. So he does that for other characters,
so cool.
and
I think that's
so
really
and
dope.
some people will tell me, like some of the actors will be like, "Yo, man, be careful what you say to Pete, man. Put it in the show." I'm like, okay,
Like, oh, you cook? Okay.
yeah, you're like, oh, you do what? Oh, we gonna see. You can, So yeah, he's good with that. But that's what makes the show great. You put in situations that you're familiar with. So.
That's awesome.
With basketball, too, though, just to piggyback off of that, I heard that you had a basketball scholarship, and then you dropped out of college to pursue acting.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. LA has a lot of transplants, people that move here. What, prompted that leap of faith? And what would you say to people who maybe are in school, they feel stuck, or they're wanting to pursue something else?
I think I always felt like there was something else that I wanted to do with my life. Like, I love basketball. It's all I did growing up. It was the only thing that I was able to escape from, like, my circumstances that I was in. So I could, I was on the team, and the camaraderie of being on the team. Mm-hmm. That's what it is really what draws guys into doing it. I mean, if you're good, then you do it. But I wasn't good in high school. Like, I wasn't. And after high school, I got better, So then I had the opportunity to get a scholarship, which I bust my ass for.
I was going to say how you were not good at this.
Right.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't good, and I would just show up to the college. They would have open runs, and then I would just be there, and I would just play and play and play. And then, he came to me at once, was like, "Hey, you always playing here. Like, why do you always come?" And I'm like, "Well, like, I want to play in college. I want a scholarship." So he offered me one. And at that time that was huge. It was like, I didn't have any scholarships coming out of high school or anything. And I wanted an education because that's what I thought I needed to have. Mm-hmm. And so that's what you're kind of told growing up, is that this is what you need to do. And for me, I just feel like college, if there's something that you're passionate about and you need to go there, right, then do it. But I don't think that is necessary. I think that this is a time of, like, originality. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I feel like college can sort of stifle that unless you're in the field that you're passionate about. As I have a lot of friends who go to college 4 years and they haven't used anything, that they've studied this past 4 years or whatever. So I would just urge you, if you're venturing into something that you're not passionate about, like, get in line with what you want to do and just follow that, because it can only lead to good things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
I love that. CJ, you want to take us into our special segment?
Yes. So our special segment today is Keating'S Best, and that is basically we choose an MVP of the whole episode. So who do you guys think tonight's Keating'S Best is?
Wow. I got to think about that one a little bit harder.
I mean, for tonight?
Yeah.
The MVP?
Yeah, MVP of tonight's episode.
All right, this is going to be a surprise for the fans who followed me on the show, because they have nicknamed me the Bonnie hater.
Okay. So you... And
outside of her sleeping with Frank, I did not know that they slept together. That was kind of disgusting. I puked in my mouth a little bit.
That was the second time.
Outside of that, they're just so gross. Ugh. Let's focus on the positive. I think that Bonnie is my MVP because when Annalise was on the floor, and I don't know, we don't know if it was an actual overdose or if she was just too drunk, whatever was happening with her pain meds, I think Bonnie came in at the right time and saved her to give us more of Professor Keating that we got later on.
Okay.
So I'll give Bonnie the MVP for this episode.
Cool. What about you?
Okay, so I was gonna say Gabriel, but I think I'm actually gonna switch it. Sorry, and then I was gonna say Sam, but I'm gonna give it to Frank.
You were gonna give Sam the MVP?
Only for a hot second, then I changed my mind. Okay, I changed my mind. So now it's gonna be.
You said Frank?
Yeah, it's gonna be Frank. And the reason I say that is because I like that Frank first of all, he's taken accountability and responsibility for what he had, as far as his involvement in Annalise losing her baby. But I also like that he talked to Sam and he's like, listen, be a man, be a husband, be there for Annalise. And I think that, Frank is just always that good character that you can rely back on, piggyback on. He always knows all the answers. He sees all. He's not the devil, okay? He does not run people over, okay? It's, like Asher. But I will give it to
Asher
Frank.
gets ran over.
Yeah.
Okay, Rome, what about you? Who's your Keating's best of tonight's episode?
I think that Viola is excluded, okay?
Yeah.
Because she's just great. It would be her every night, Let me think. I don't want to seem narcissistic, but I think I would pick Gabriel. Honestly.
Gabriel.
Why
okay.
so? Why is Gabriel the MVP of tonight's episode?
Because I think that when we left off from where he was at, it could have gone either way. And I just feel like this episode set the tone for who Gabriel maybe is. I feel like it showed him a human characteristic that we didn't get to see this first 8 episodes. We found out sort of what his motives are. And I feel like, those scenes that he had with Annalise, where she's basically saying, your dad sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
trash,
he's
dude.
dead. What are you doing here? Like, it was not gentle. And I just feel like the way that he sort of took that information, and sort of, I just feel like it kind of set the tone for the next episode. And then we find out what people know about him. And I just feel like it was a good setup for Gabriel, that this scene, especially. Everybody was great though, honestly. I did like Frank. I thought he had a good arc, in this episode. It's really hard to choose from, honestly.
Yeah, I almost chose Gabriel, but
That's
I
all
think
right.
it makes me sad because it's like I'm starting to like Gabriel's character more, but I'm like, is he going to be a part of the K4, K5?
But
or
I just didn't feel like he really brought
oh my gosh,
anything
I just mean like, is he going to stay, as far as longevity and the next coming seasons? Is he going to be a part of the gang?
I can see that.
I can see him sticking around. Gabriel didn't get MVP for me because I don't really like The Secrets. I can't stand it. I know.
not a Gabriel fan
No.
either.
It's not that I'm
Everyone's
not.
just
It's not
putting
that
it
I'm
on
not a
me.
Gabriel fan. It's that he won me over, and then right before this episode ended, he goes, "I screwed up. They know," and I'm just like,
Who is he talking to?
"Sir,
Yeah.
it's too soon to be crossing me like this. We just got on good terms."
Well, my Keating's best, I agree with you. I think it's Bonnie because she's like handling all that business. I wasn't gonna choose anyone because I didn't think anyone tonight really like brought the like oomph to the episode, but Bonnie did like clean everything up and was helping like with all the Miller death and everything. So I think her. Yeah.
Just preparing
But
to
tell me,
choose.
guys, who you think your Keating's best is in the comments below.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into some news and gossip.
Yes.
AfterBuzz
All right,
TV.
guys. So, of course, we have Rome in the building, but we'll get to that. So let's actually go with Asia Naomi King. So I wanted to bring her up because she has her new movie out. It's called The Upside. It's starring Kevin Hart. It's starring Nicole Kidman and Bryan Cranston. And so if you look through some of the pictures here, you see some screenshots of her in the movie. So you guys make sure that you check that out. It is in theaters now. As far as her character, she plays Latrice, who is Dell's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his child. So make sure you check it out. If you've already seen it, let us know how it was. Leave comments,
the mother?
live chat in the movie. Yeah.
But it's so weird
Latrice.
seeing her like go from a college student to playing.
But she's not
mom.
new to this. She was also in 12 Years a Slave. She
And she had a phenomenal performance in 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
So I don't think you
And I
will realize that
I
she's
think
a
it was
college
Birth
it
of
was
a Nation.
Nat Turner.
Nat-
It was,
No.
it was Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a
that she
Nation,
did.
Nat
Birth of
Turner.
a Nation.
And she's doing other things as well. In fact, she's doing another thing for the big screen. She's going to be starring in as the lead for an upcoming film called A Girl from Mogadishu.
She's killing
And
it.
it's a Pembroke Pictures film. So, good job, Asia.
She has a L'Oreal campaign too.
L'Oreal as well. Yeah, she's doing a lot of stuff. So it's like, it's not just Rome, not just, some of the other cast members. Everyone's doing something, which I love. And then, of course, Rome, you have your film coming out. So Tyler Perry, he's saying that this will be one of the last Medea films.
Yeah.
And his play is also out now, right? He has a play out.
He's on a,
So I've seen plenty of Medea films, and I'm sad that it's the last one. But, timing is everything. So let's actually play a clip from the trailer and check it out. Sing grace.
Oh, killing it.
The Bible say, yea, though she walked in the valley with
Yes,
the shadow
Medea.
of Little Red Riding Hood and the 3 bears, she feared no evil.
I knew it
Oh my
The
gosh.
little pigs was not around. Hallelujah.
How you doing, baby?
I'm okay.
Well, you looks bad.
We here
Oh
because
my
your
goodness.
daddy dead. Now me coordinating the funeral. I hope y'all can appreciate what I'm gonna try to do.
And if you need anything, just let us know.
I know it's about funerals. I done
All the
buried
characters
a lot
you guys
of men.
see,
a lot of them.
Punk from I Love New York was also in there. Do you see Rome there?
You're about to get shot.
I think this might be the best one. This might be the best one.
Anything featuring families, I think, is always pretty good. Like
Oh,
the family
gosh.
reunion was one of my favorite ones. That the Medea's family reunion.
He still can't keep them teeth in, huh?
Right. Wow. So you guys, Rome Flynn is in this movie. It comes out March 1st, right?
Yep.
So tell us about your character.
My character's name is Jesse, and he's this unassuming guy, right? And he's the good guy of the film. I guess I would say, yeah.
Okay.
That's a.
Does he play like a family member of
He's a
Medea?
family member, right?
Okay.
So basically, what's going on is that it's not Medea's family; she's a friend of the family. So my character's father is the one who dies.
Okay.
Right, and so we all come together, and she plans the funeral. So it's
Medea
hilarious.
plans the funeral.
Medea's
Wow.
throwing the funeral. It's funny. I already saw it. It's
I
funny.
really want to see it because I have my favorites like Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That was
Yeah.
one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Family Reunion, which was one of my favorites.
I just love every single.
But it's been a
Medea
while
movie.
since I've
She's
seen
great. You just can't
Medea
get enough
film.
of her, man. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw it. I watched it, and I was like, I wish there was more Medea in.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you? I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can you
What's
give us your best Medea impression?
Do it. Good morning.
I really can't. I can't.
get
I
a
just
hallelujah?
can't. Hallelujah. I don't know, man.
a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, I suck at doing him. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah,
That's
that dude, hey, he's a
amazing.
genius, man. I say that about Tyler, man.
He is, and I
Legendary.
noticed in that trailer, there's other people like people from social media. I can't think of all the names, but
Yeah.
you see a lot of social media people from
Influencers, yeah.
Instagram, Facebook.
Blame
in
it on
this movie.
K-Way. What's his
Yeah,
name?
blame on Quay or TT. He's in the play
He's in the
version
play.
though, right?
Yeah.
So
Joanne the
just-
Scammer's in this one, though.
Wow.
I love that we
And his
call
real name
them
is
their
Brandon.
social media handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe his real name is Brandon, which shout out to him. I know he's been going through a lot. So for him
He's
to
hilarious,
have this,
though.
it's like
Yeah.
The guy
amazing.
from Empire's in there too.
Who's that?
You talk about Trey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bias.
yeah. I'm having a blank on his name, but yeah, him as well. So a lot of people in there. So congratulations. I
you.
noticed you stick with a lot of the drama genres because you did The Bold and the Beautiful,
Yeah.
which you also won an Emmy for.
Hey.
It was
Yep.
Best Outstanding Actor Award, correct?
Best Younger Actor.
Younger Actor Award, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And then of course you have How to Get Away with Murder,
Yeah.
and now you're doing like a family comedy.
Yeah,
I guess you
it's
could kind of
it's a
consider
good
it like
balance. I just got to give it to God, honestly. It's
Absolutely.
the timing. I'm telling you, because this movie we did 2 years ago. It was supposed to come out last year.
Wow.
I think Lionsgate had something else they wanted to do for that time slot that year, so it got pushed, right? So in retrospect, and me thinking about it now, like in hindsight, that was perfect because now it comes out March 1st.
Yep.
The show stops airing maybe in February. Like it's a perfect segue for me to go into, press for that, and trying to work on whatever else I'm trying to do after that. And also the have and have nots, man. Shout out to the fans on the have and have nots. They be getting on me because I don't talk about them a lot.
See?
But I got to remind them that they're not paying me no more. Okay? Like I'm not on the,
listen,
I'm just telling people like, listen, I filmed those episodes of that show like last year, the year before that, and like I say again, it got pushed. So now just coincidentally, like I'm airing on that show on Tuesday, and also airing on How to Get Away with Murder, and they literally just started like the same week.
That's
you
insane.
know, so I just like sometimes I'll just tell God I see you.
He's
up there.
always looking out. I love that you mentioned him.
strings.
Booked and busy. Yeah, stay busy. I love it.
Yeah.
Rome, before we head out, can you? What should we look forward to this season? Like, what can we look forward to? As much as you can give us. I know you can't talk about stuff that we haven't seen yet, but what do we have to look forward to on this season, the rest of this season?
You know, it's weird for me because every time I watch it, I'm just like, yo, because I'm fans of the I'm a fan of the show too. I was a fan before I was on it, and I never know how it's gonna come out the full finished product. Like I know what the scripts are, but it always comes out differently when I see it. It's always better than I think it's gonna be, and so I really don't know as far as what to expect from the show in general. I think I can only speak on stuff that I'm doing in the show because you know I'm only me. So I know that I have scenes with Annalise. Gabriel and Annalise have a lot of scenes together.
Okay.
And I think they're building up this chemistry that I'm watching, and I'm liking it. I think I'm liking it a little bit. Not because it's me, but I'm liking it. No, I'm serious. I'm liking it because, like, it's making her be in a position that she hasn't been since maybe Wes. Like, in a sense of, like the scene that they had in church. You know what I'm saying? It's making her
That was intense.
sort of react in a way that I haven't seen Annalise act with any of the other K4, K5 or whatever. So I think that their chemistry is just kind of building at this point, right? So either it's gonna explode or maybe she'll you know, they'll be best friends. I have no idea.
Maybe you
So
both
we'll
will
see.
fill each other's voids in some way because there's that connection with
Yeah.
Sam and, you know, you not having your father and her not having Wes or her
Yeah.
or her son. But also, I'm wondering, is Gabriel going to have any scenes with Eve? Like, Eve came out of
I
nowhere.
can see that. Maybe that's who's on the.
I don't know. I was wondering if it was Laurel, like Laurel's.
You thought it was her parents or her
yeah,
mom?
I thought it was like maybe
I
her
don't
mom.
think
Like
so.
I was like maybe he got the number somehow because you know.
I can tell you, you're not gonna know. You know, and honestly, watching it now, like the way that we filmed it, it was different, right?
Okay.
So now I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, okay, because originally they had the actual voicemail who the person was in the beginning. So now they switched that out and they made it even more intense. So,
Wow.
you know, because at first when I did that scene, I was like, man, people are going to lose their mind because based on who it is, right? And now they don't even know who it is. It's like double now, you know, because you don't know who it is. And when you find out who it is, then it's going to be like, damn, really? Like, how you get in tune with that person? So,
We've seen this person before.
you know, I don't know. We'll see.
You know,
Can't tell us. He can't
I'm
tell us.
done.
Yeah, I'll tell y'all right now.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Here's the thing about the show. I feel like it always comes down to who's on the phone or who left the voicemail or who he called. I'm
It's always
over it.
that. I
I'm so
feel you.
over
Blood
it.
isn't. Yeah.
Unfortunately, our time with Rome has come to an end. But we'll be back
okay.
next week with a whole new episode of How to Get Away with Murder.
Yep, and I'm
Yes.
coming back.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know
We
if
can't
I
trust
can.
him.
Y'all don't-
We cannot trust
Listen,
him.
I don't know if I'll be
He's
welcome
just
here
like-
next week. I don't know what we did. Let me think of the episode.
But until next week, guys, you can follow me on all social platforms at @hey_it's_lay.
Hey guys, Jaimi Gray here. You can find me on Twitter at It's Jaimi Gray or on IG at Jaimi Gray.
What's up, guys? CJ Walker here. You can find me everywhere with ICJ Walker, even on YouTube because I'm a YouTuber.
And Rome, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Rome Flynn. You can find me on Twitter at Rome Tremaine. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm just kidding. It's not real. You don't find me on there. I don't have one of those. That's it. I don't have anything else.
Well, until next week, guys, we'll see you in the chat.
Later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.